Hello, beautiful souls, Rana here. And today I wanted to make this really fun video discussing Ayurveda. I do Dharmic healing, and Ayurveda, of course, is a very important aspect to Dharmic healing. And, really understanding what your constitution is like and how that can impact your overall mind, body, and spirit. So I wanted to kind of make this video discussing and giving a little overview on what Ayurveda is. Of course, there's so much to be said on this topic, but I thought it would be really fun and really important to go over Ayurveda. I'm such a holistic, natural health person, and I just love how, this very ancient, over 5,000-year-old system of medicine, really, of holistic medicine, has so many powerful healing benefits. And once you really understand it and understand how to work with it, it can really, really help improve your life, completely naturally without any intense pharmaceuticals or interventions. So let's get into it. So Ayurveda is, as I mentioned, a very old, 5,000-year-old system of ancient medicine, really one of the original forms of medicine kind of ever invented. And of course, it's derived from India. So Ayurveda really helps us to recognize our connection to all that exists. And actually the rishis, the kind of ancient sages, if you will, really understood this connection to cosmic consciousness and how we as individuals are connected to everything. And through various mind, body, and kind of spiritual practices, we can really heal ourselves, with natural remedies, with herbs, and with diet that's, of course, suited to our constitution, which we will get into. We can really heal ourselves in this very holistic framework. So it's super interesting. It weaves kind of like religion and spirituality and overall just this holistic framework. So it of course also integrates yogic therapies and yogic practices and tantric practices. That's why yoga, tantra, and Ayurveda are so intimately connected, because you can't really just focus on one. They overlap so often. So it really is this kind of framework of healing the body through so many means. It's not just diet, but it really takes into account a person's mind and body and all that. So Ayurveda literally translates to the science of life. It's a Sanskrit term. And this is a really important thing to understand, because it really is, the science of life itself. I think in the kind of Western world, we like to just pick something apart and analyze it as an individual and really trying to figure out what this specific thing is kind of what harm is it causing. And, Ayurveda really likes to look at everything as a whole. So it really assesses everything about a person's life and overall life itself to kind of heal and to nurture and to create a thriving, healthy environment. So again, Ayurveda really recognizes that each human is kind of a microcosm within the kind of grander, greater scheme of the cosmos. We're like little mini universes, if you will, walking around that have the ability to kind of heal and connect with all that is. And oftentimes it's only until we realize that potential within ourselves that we can actually begin to heal ourselves. So that's why it has such profound ties to the yogic and tantric traditions. So a very important aspect of Ayurveda is, of course, understanding the 5 elements that exist within all of us, but really all of creation. It exists within everything. So it's a really interesting framework, and it essentially goes over, as I mentioned, the 5 elements, which is essentially ether, which is space, air, fire, water, and earth. So these 5 elements again, exists within everything. And understanding your constitution, which are known as the doshas. So we have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Pitta making up the fire and water, Vata, air and space, and Kapha, water and earth. So again, we all have these elements within us, although with the way that the doshas are understood is that we kind of each have what is referred to as our kind of prakriti, our individual constitution. And knowing what that is, and knowing what your individual constitution is, which is different for everyone, is really going to help you understand the way your body works, and therefore you can create a kind of customized diet and lifestyle suited towards your dosha, because again, we are all different, and that's what makes this really holistic framework very different from the kind of Western system of medicine, which kind of groups so many of us together and doesn't really understand how each of us are really all unique and different. So this unique mix of your doshas is what's referred to as your prakriti, and your vikriti is your current imbalance or kind of, state of ill health or disease or whatever you want to call it. So understanding your prakriti will really help you, again, understand how to go about healing your body in a way that is suited for you as an individual. So Vata governs a lot of dynamic movement. Pitta, being the fire element, really represents a lot of transformation. And Kapha is going to kind of represent a lot of grounding and stability. So oftentimes for individuals, especially for those who have kind of single doshas, so if they're just Vata, just Kapha, or just Pitta, their characteristics, not just their like physical characteristics, but oftentimes even their emotional characteristics as well are going to represent these elements. So it's a very fascinating concept. And actually, once you really go deeper into Ayurveda and study it more, you begin to pick up on people's doshas very easily without them needing to really actually take an assessment. I have been able to determine so easily just by talking to someone and really understanding their bodily composition, how they look physically, what their dosha could be. So it's very, very interesting. And, oftentimes like we do have these characteristics within us. So someone who's Pitta might really look very they might have really red cheeks and have like strong kind of personalities. A Vata person, again, given the air and space component, might be very tall and lean and lanky and have a lot of high energy. So it's really important. It's really interesting actually once you understand it. That's been my favorite aspect of studying and learning about Ayurveda. So if you're interested in learning about your dosha, again, we can, there are so many, there are 7. So you can be an individual, just Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or you can be what I kind of call a dual dosha. So you can be like a Vata, Pitta, Kapha, things like that. Or you can do, you can be a tridosha. So I'm actually a tridosha. So it's kind of just a general healthy balance of all 3. So again, knowing what your unique dosha is really important if you want to get into Ayurveda. You can take some of the assessments online, although they aren't super accurate. So I do actually have a way to determine it that's more accurate. And you can reach out to me if you're interested, and I can help you determine what your dosha is. And if you're interested, do a dharmic healing session with you and kind of set you up for an ideal kind of lifestyle and diet for your unique dosha. So reach out to me if you're interested and we can go over that a little more. But I just wanted to kind of give an overview of what the doshas are, because it's very interesting, and of course a very key component of what Ayurveda is, understanding the elements and what the doshas are. There are of course so many other ways to really assess an individual aside from the just understanding their doshas. So in Ayurveda, there are kind of like stool assessments, there are eye assessments, you can assess someone's pulse. There are so many other ways to kind of understand the current state of health within an individual. So again, there are these other frameworks that we use in Ayurveda as well, aside from just understanding the doshas, to really help figure out the state of a person's health. So like, for instance, even with your bowel movements, that can indicate where you're at within where the mixture of the elements are at within your body. Maybe if you have too much pitta, that could show up in a certain way. With your tongue, same thing. If you have too much pitta or kapha or vata, that shows up as well. So it's super interesting. And then of course, herbal remedies are a very big aspect. There are so many herbs you can study within Ayurveda. Many of these herbs are of course like originating within India. So like so many people know about ashwagandha. There's haritaki. There are so many really powerful Ayurvedic herbs to kind of study about as well. And we use herbal remedies. We use things like aromatherapy. And then even to like just using, especially given the overlap that Ayurveda has with yoga and Tantra, we use a lot of yogic therapies as well, and even tantric therapy. So they're all connected. And that's what I love about the dharmic sciences overall, really. It's incredibly fascinating. And of course, there are so many Ayurvedic remedies to help balance the body, such as various kriyas like abhyanga and jalabasti, which is performing enemas, or nasya, which is kind of like adding oil to the sinuses to help with pranayama and breathing. So that's also a very big aspect of Ayurvedic treatment as well, are all these kind of like kriyas that you can do to help support the body and bring it back into balance. So I just wanted to give a little overview on what Ayurveda is. This video can be so much longer. I can go into so much more depth. But again, if you're interested in learning about your specific constitution, your dosha, and receiving a dharmic healing session, reach out to me. I would be happy to help you with that. I also have a blog post on it down below, so go ahead and check that out. And you can also sign up for my email list if you want to stay connected. Otherwise, I wish you all so well, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.